Hello there and welcome to the Mobile Academy. And if you want to become a job ready Flutter developer, make sure to check out the courses on my website mobileacademy.io. Here you will find all of the courses related to the Flutter development. You will find the professional course as well as the basic course related to the Flutter. You can also find some of the free courses over here if you want to just go and try it out, or if you are just a beginner on the Flutter and then the React Native, you can also find the free course over here. And if you would like to be a full stack developer, we also have the course related to the full stack developer, related to the Node.js, Express, MongoDB, as well as the Flutter over here. And if you would like to join the Flutter bootcamp, there is also a bootcamp course over here. So make sure to go and check out the course over here. There are free and then the paid course. And if you want to be a job ready Flutter developer, this is the course that you want to take. So see you guys on the next lesson. Till then, have a great day. Let us go and see how we can create our first document in our MongoDB. So once we have created the task model over here, that we have exported it already. So let's go back to our task controller and let's go on to the top over here. So we just have to make use of that one. So const of the task, which we are going to import it from the model, the task model. So once we have this particular task over here, let's go to the below over here. So that will be of the create over here. So now we don't have to update our the fake model that we have previously created. And first I will grab the body from here, right? Request.the body over here. And then what we need to do is we need to construct the tags over here. So I'll just make use of the tags that we have, right? Tags.the create, and I need to pass in that particular object over here. So whatever we are getting it from the body, we are going to pass it to our tags.the create, and the create, it's actually it returns a promise over here. So what we need to do is we need to make this one as a asynchronous over here. So async asynchronous over here, and now I can make use of the await over here, and that is going to, okay, so we have some error over here. We need to invalid schema configuration, true is not valid for the time timestamp over here. So it is giving us some error because of that particular timestamp. So I guess we have made some mistake to our model, but let's just configure this one first, and then we'll go and fix that one over there. And now once we go and create that one, that should go and create our first of our record in our database. And if you go back to the documentation over here, you can see that the model that create, so this is our task, is our model. So model that create is a shortcut for saving one or more document to the database. So you can just use your model name that create and pass in the doc over here, and then does the new model that is saved for every doc. So it's actually going to make use of the save at the behind the scenes over here. So this function triggers the middleware of the save. Is actually going to trigger the there is a middleware. I guess we'll be learning about the middleware in our coming up section, the Mongoose middleware. But for currently, you'll just remember that it is going to trigger some middleware that is of the save middleware. And there is some example how you can make use of this. If you are passing just one, so you can just pass a single object over here. If you want to create a multiple object, you can just pass in the array of that particular one over here. And there are other options, like you can also pass in the options over here, but I guess that should be fine. And if you want to pass this as an object over here, you can just use a spread operator, or you can just manually pass in the each of the field that you require over here. So there are multiple ways of creating this, and depending on your requirement, you can proceed with one of those. So let's just go and do this one with we'll pass in the object, and then in this way we are just letting it know that we just want to pass in the text, the day, and then the reminder. Let's say if the some client pass in the some extra object or the extra field or over here, it's also going to be sent it to this particular task that we create. But in this way you can actually prevent that from happening, because we are just sending what is required by sending only the creating only the field that we require over here. So once we have that over here, so this is a request.body is the body that we are receiving from the client request. Later we'll see we'll create a post request from the our postman, and we'll try to grab that particular body over here, and then we are creating the tasks that they create. And once it is successful, we just have to wait for this one, since this returns a promise over here. The create returns a promise. I guess we also have the documentation over here, so it returns a promise. So we have to wait for that one in order to move to this particular section over here. So here we are just going to say that it was successful, and then it will return us the let's say the const of the new task that it has created, right? And this particular new task we are going to pass back to our API over here, and I'll just go and say this is of the let's say this is of the task over here, and it will be of the new task, or this is a single task, so I'll just go and say this is of the task of the new task over here. So that should be good enough, I guess. And we need to fix the valid timestamp. So let's go and search for our timestamp timestamp over here, and let's go and take a look what went wrong over there. So I guess the spelling error was there, so I guess this is the correct spelling, and I need to pass in that the correct one over here, and I guess that should be good enough. So we still have some error. The invalid schema configuration true is not a valid for the timestamp. So let's go and see what went wrong over here, the timestamp, and let's go and search for this one over here, and it should be of this one. So here is the timestamp. Okay, it's outside of this particular schema, I guess. So this is the current schema that we have, and here we need to pass in the timestamp over here. And sorry for that, previously I made a mistake over here. We need to pass in over here, not over there. So that should be good enough. So this is the timestamp, so I'll just go and arrange this one properly over here. So this is the second that we are passing in over here, and I'll just go and close this one over here. So that should be good enough. I guess we'll just go and try to move this one inside so we can see it clearly. Let's try to do some kind of the proper intent over here, and that should be good enough. So this is our schema. We define our field, and then we provide the one more, which is of the timestamp. So I guess that should fix, and now we can see that this is successful. The database connection was successful. And now let's go back to our the postman. Let me open my postman over here, and let's try to create our tags over there. So let's open up the postman from here, and let's go to our create tags. This is the create tags over here, and now we need to send this one. So this will be of the I guess this is of the date, but we are actually sending the current as a string. So let's just go and try to send this one as the I will grab the first one from our, let's just go and grab this one from here. So let's just go, and we don't have to pass in the ID. Later we'll see how that was created automatically for us, but for now let's just go and try to pass in only this information from here. And I guess that was previously what we had over there. So let's just go and shopping. I'll just go and say that as a shopping for now. So let's just not complicate it, and I'll just go and send this particular request from here, and we got some error, I guess. So here if you go back to the server, and you will get that particular error over here. So you can see that this is a string value, and we are sending the string value, but it requires a date. So that's why it cannot save that or create that particular request. So what we have to do is we need to provide the date over here. So how do we provide the date over here? So we need to provide a date format over here. So let's just go and remove this one from here, and let's just provide some date format over here. And once we have added the date format, so we have the year, month, and then the day, and then we have the timestamp over here. So let's try to send this one over here, and we still got some error over here. So let's try to go and take a look what went wrong over here. So we still have the string, the value type is of string. So let's go and see. This is what we are actually, so this is not what we are actually sending over here. And let's just go and clear it out, this one over here. And let's just go and remove this body from here, console.log, and let's try to go and send what is of this one. So let's try to save this one for here, and this is the day, and then we have sending this particular date from that should actually work over here. And now you can see that it is actually working. So we now got back the data from the MongoDB itself. So let's go back and check it in our MongoDB over here. Let's try to refresh this one over here, and now you will see that. Let's go to the tags over here, and I guess it created a new database over here. You can see that it created a new one. So that is not what we wanted over here. So this is the tags that it has created over here. And if you go over here, and it has some, so let's just go and see what went wrong over here. It should be over this particular tags over here, and it should be over here, but it actually created below that one as a test over here, and that is what it has provided over here. So now you can see that this tags has this particular value. So it has the shopping date and reminder, and it also added the created date and time automatically over here. And now if you take a look at the connection string over here, let's go to connect new, and you will see that we haven't passed our database over here. So this is the connection string, but here nowhere we are passing actually the database over here. So if you don't pass in the database in the connection string, it's always going to create the default one, which is of the test over here. So in the connection string, we need to pass in the database name as well as the password over here. So let's go back to our env file over here that we have configured over here, and in the MongoDB connection, the env on the field that we have property, and here is our connection string. So let me just make it a little bit bigger over here, and if you take a look, I have provided that particular the database, which is of the tags over here, and that is what I have provided over here. And if you haven't provided that particular database over here, make sure to provide that one, otherwise it's going to create a default one, which is of the test. So now it should work fine, and it should be good enough. So I guess that's all, and you just have to change that particular database connection string, and you just need to create a new record or new document through the Postman, or you can send the API request over here. So that's all, and we will meet up in the next one. Till then, have a great day. Let us look into the ID field that we are getting back as a response. So this is the ID. So it was not what we have added in our model. So if you go to our tags model over here, we haven't added that ID field or the property over here. We just added the text day and then the reminder. But if you take a look over here, you will see that we are getting that particular ID. So which means that it was created in the DB automatically. And for that, if you go back to the documentation of the Mongoose, you will see that once we create that particular model, by default the Mongoose will add an ID property to your schema. So it is added by default, so we don't have to provide that. And you can see that it is added by default for us. And type each of the, so when you create a new document with the automatically added property, Mongoose is going to create a new ID field for you with the type of the object ID. So type for this one will be object ID, and we have set the type for this one as a string, date, and boolean. So ID will be type of the object ID as mentioned in the documentation over here. And we can also override that one. We can also override by default ID to your own type. So we just need to be careful on that one. So right, as of the documentation, Mongoose will refuse to save that particular top level document that doesn't have the ID. So it's not a good way to override, but in case sometime you may have the requirement to just go and replace it with a different type, so you can just go and have your own type as a number over here instead of the object ID over here. So by default it's going to make use of the object ID, but if you require the type as a number there or something else, you can just go and override that one over here. And if you go back to our database connection, you will see that we have the type each of the object ID over here, which is the of this one. And you will see that these are the text, this is of the date, this is of the boolean type over here. You can see that the data type over here as well, right? So this is object ID, this is of the type is of string, type is of the date, type is of the boolean, and then the type is of date, and the int32. So if you want to know more about the types, so you can just go to the schema types over here, and you will find that string, numbers, date, buffer, boolean, mixed object ID, array, decimals, map, schema, UUID, big int. So these are the supported schema types over here, and you can just go and read more about the documentation. We are not going to use all of those in our lessons over here, but we have already covered about the string, date, and then the boolean, and also about the object ID over here. So I guess that's all for this lesson, and we will meet up in the next one. Till then, have a great day.